Beloit College has been part of America's educational landscape since 1846, even before Wisconsin became a state. The campus rests on 40 acres in the southernmost part of Wisconsin near the Illinois border. The school is temporary home to more than 1,000 students from around the world. It has over 24 academic and residential buildings, and Beloit College has an emergency plan. Within 25 minutes of learning of the situation, the school's Emergency Operations Center was up and running. Immediately, the college EOC began communicating with their counterparts at the City of Beloit's EOC. College EOC personnel activated the school's campus-wide notification system, which alerts everyone on campus. School EOC personnel also answered calls from parents, students, and the media looking for information. The school's incident commander coordinated press releases with the college public information officer and the city's EOC incident commander. As the scenario unfolded, EOC prepared for the possibility of a prolonged event. Backup personnel were put on call just in case. When the crisis had passed and the all clear was received, the EOC incident commander directed the team to stand down. During the entire crisis, from the time the EOC was activated until the stand-down order, EOC personnel at the school took notes and recorded decisions for later reference. The next day, EOC personnel held a debriefing for the entire campus community. No amount of planning can prepare you for every actuality. As well thought out as the college's emergency plan is, there were still lessons to be learned. Here is John Nicholas, Vice President of Beloit College.
Well, the first thing we would do from an EOC point of view is have backup personnel. One thing we didn't think about and we need to think about is an extended event, whether it's a mass casualty event with an active shooter or someone like that, or a natural catastrophe. We don't really have enough staff to adequately staff the EOC without replacements. And we've talked about a 6-hour turnover, and finding the right people is the most important thing, especially in a small institution, because there aren't that many people authorized to make those types of decisions. So we have to be very careful about how we deploy our resources and who we use and how the incident commander setup works and the liaison officer and stuff like that. But the extended event issue is very important to us. The second and I think most important piece of what we would do different is to make sure that whatever facts are released to the public or whatever statements are released to the public are based on facts and not hearsay, not rumor, not third party. We certainly had the incident in this drill where the hospital went to Code Aqua based on perhaps not false information, but speculation, where they almost had to close the hospital down. And although that was an interesting part of the drill, it wasn't planned and did cause chaos at the hospital. And in a real-life situation, every moment counts, and we really can't afford to act on information that isn't verified. So those are principally the two things that I would change. I think using a liaison officer, which we did not use in this drill, because that's normally my role, because I was on the design team, so we did not use a liaison officer, and I think we were disadvantaged by that. We did not have the eyes and ears in the field to coordinate with our EOC, even though our EOC folks and the city's EOC folks worked well together. We didn't have that person out in the field to coordinate activities and relay information back. So I'd say the first two items and that are the most important for us, that I would change. One thing we learned from this drill was we didn't do too well in the PIO area. Although we have a person who is a PIO, I think he spent most of his time trying to deal with the media who were on campus and trying to make sure that the correct public statements were made. We did not have a JIC, a Joint Information Center, working appropriately. Folks, especially media folks, are being shepherded from one place to the other. If it wasn't for the PIO from the state who helped out, I think it would have been utter chaos. What comes to my mind immediately is having a plan is good, but having the right people to execute the plan is vital. But backing up, we have to go back to the plan itself. It has to be simple, it has to be clear, it has to be straightforward, and everyone should have the same, if you will, plan. And we're working on something that's very easy to read, that's in tabular form. It's as if this occurs, you flip the tab, if that occurs, and you follow perhaps 3 or 4 behaviors, 3 or 4 steps. So we don't have chaos, we don't have everyone running all over the place. That's the most important thing. What goes on in the community if in the event we do activate the EOC? Well, if that's the case, the senior administration generally is cut off from everyone, at least physically. So we need to be sure that students, faculty, and staff have some idea of what to do. So our goal in this year is to, while we're working on the notification system, to simplify the plan and then practice it, constantly discuss it. Once the city's EOC was up and running, the collaboration between the 2 EOCs, I thought the exchange of information was good. I thought the coordination between the 2 was good. I thought the incident command system worked well. Again, we didn't have a liaison officer in the field, and that hurt us. We flew by the seat of our pants to some extent in our EOC. As I said before, the PIO piece did not go well for us, even though at the end I thought the public information forum that was held with the media was done very well with our president and the city manager. They were well informed, they spoke well, but getting there, I think, was difficult, and we could have had a lot of confusion at the end if it didn't come together in the end. So we really need to be working on the public information piece and having only the right people stand in front of the camera at the right time, saying the right thing. We all in this business, and from a common sense point of view, know you cannot prevent anything. But it's how you appropriately respond to something that will make the event successful or unsuccessful, or even though it's tragic, at least it will be in some form that is manageable. And I think folks in my business need to go through the basic NIMS and basic ICS training. They all don't necessarily have to go to the Emergency Management Institute, but I think FEMA's done a terrific job in getting information out on websites and holding conferences. I think the community is starting to come together and recognizing this. There are many more articles, but every one I read says you've got to have a plan. Well, it's what you do with the plan that's more important, and the reason they don't mention that in the articles is because they haven't done it. And I think that's where the tabletops, that's where any exercise that an institution can have working with their public partners will come in handy in the long run.